consideration of the following legislation as directed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Resolution 431 do pass by substitute. Senate Resolution 467 do pass. Senate Resolution 489 do pass. House Bill 14 do pass by substitute. House Bill 105 do pass by substitute. House Bill 117 do pass by substitute. House Bill 129 do pass by substitute. House Bill 171 do pass by substitute. House Bill 197 do pass by substitute. House Bill 225 do pass by substitute. House Bill 233 do pass by substitute. House Bill 254 do pass by substitute. House Bill 377 do pass by substitute. House Bill 445 do pass by substitute. House Bill 454 do pass. House Bill 483 do pass by substitute. House Bill 651 do pass by substitute. House Bill 652 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Brass, the 6th District Chairman. Dear Mr. Secretary, pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.6, I hereby give notice I will introduce a minority report to wait along with the majority report of House Bill 483, which is passed by the Committee on Rules on March 31st, 2025. Sincerely, Senator Jones. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations has had under consideration the following legislation. I instruct me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 358 do pass. Senate Bill 359 do pass. House Bill 749 do pass. House Bill 750 do pass by substitute. House Bill 774 do pass. House Bill 781 do pass. House Bill 785 do pass. House Bill 788 do pass. House Bill 789 do pass. House Bill 790 do pass. House Bill 794 do pass. House Bill 797 do pass. House Bill 798 do pass. Senate Bill 356 do pass. House Bill 772 do pass. House Bill 780 do pass. House Bill 787 do pass. House Bill 791 do pass. House Bill 793 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon of the 45th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary read bills and resolutions for the second time.
Senate Resolution 431 by Senator Harrell, the 40th, and others. Senate Impact of Social Media and Artificial Intelligence on Children and Platform Privacy Protection Study Committee, create. Senate Resolution 476 by Senator Halpern, the 39th, and others. Senate Study Committee on Local School System Flexibility Options, create. Senate Resolution 49 by Senator Dixon, the 45th, and others. Senate Study Committee on Inclusive Educational Settings for Students with Disabilities, create. House Bill 225 by Representative Washburn, the 144th, and others. Motor Vehicles Enforcement of Speeding Violations in School Zones through Automated Traffic Enforcement Safety Devices, or repeal all laws. House Bill 651 by Representative Powell, the 33rd, and others. Motor Vehicles Use of Automated Traffic Enforcement Safety Devices in School Zones, revised provisions. Mr. President, that completes the order.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Recognize Senator from the 45th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 46th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, Senator from the 46th is excused. Recognize Senator from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 27th and the senator from the 46th. Oh, he's already been excused.
Without objection, Senator from the 27th is excused. Recognize Senator from the 33rd.
Good morning, Mr. President, y'all. Somebody gave me a note here to say to excuse the senator from the 33rd.
That would be you, Senator. All right. It is now time for the morning roll call, and the Secretary will call the roll. Senators, signify your presence by voting the yay switch. The Secretary will unlock the machines. It is now time for our morning devotion. If the doorkeeper will secure the chamber at this time, and I'll ask that all unauthorized personnel exit the chamber as well. We have a very special guest with us today. I know he's very special to the senator that will be introducing him. So And I recognize the senator from the 10th to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance and introduce our pastor of the day. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag, the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation. Good morning, and it is one of those moments when you have an opportunity to do something that you know just kind of resonates in your spirit and in your soul. Today I have an opportunity to introduce my son, who is our pastor of the day. Elam Jones, who is a young 30 years old, got ordained when he was 21 years old in the Baptist faith by my pastor in McDonough, Georgia. He's since gone on to do great things with his life. And just to share a few of those things, and I would try not to get choked up because he is an exceptional young man. And not only is Elam an exceptional young man, but he is an exceptional pastor as well. Elam currently attends Harvard University. He's studying he's gotten his master's in divinity from Harvard. He's currently studying for his doctorate in divinity from Harvard. And he's also in the law school at Harvard University up in Boston. When I say exceptional, he really is an exceptional young man. 21 years that I've served in this body, my kids have literally grown up with me in this chamber. And I can say to all of you that when your time comes and you look back on those moments, I just pray that you never, ever forget the experience, not just that you had in this body, but also the experience that your family had as well. Elam is joined by members of my family, and I'm taking the liberty, Mr. President, I do apologize, but my daughter, who is the doctor of the day, she's in Portland, Oregon at the National University of Natural Medicine. I'm also joined by my son's wife, Ms. Asia Jones, who is studying her PhD at Berkeley, California, and I understand Cal Berkeley, she has one more year to complete her PhD in psychology and sociology. And I'm honored that my matriarch of our family, my Aunt Janelle, was gracious enough to come up here and join my two kids as they are featured here today. And this moment would not have been possible without my sister, who stands right next to my aunt. And one of the things that we all have shared growing up is a closeness in our family. I always say to people that we didn't have much, but we always had each other, and that's all we need. Please join me in welcoming my son, Elam Jones, our pastor of the day.
To Lieutenant Governor Jones and to the Honorable Emmanuel Jones, who graciously invited me to speak in this chamber once more, and to the members of the Georgia State Senate and all who have gathered today, it is both a privilege and an honor to address you this morning. I'd like to take up a word from the Lord found in the book of Micah, the 6th chapter, verse 8, and the story that unfolds in the pages directly preceding it. This places us within a narrative set long after the division of the land of ancient Israelites into the northern kingdom of Israel and Judah to the south. Following a long period of relative peace, both kingdoms, along with surrounding nations, found themselves facing increasing pressure from powerful and rapidly expanding neighboring empires. The book further locates us in a small town in the south, where the prophet Micah, serving as a messenger of God, delivers a powerful and piercing message to the kingdom's leaders. accusing them of amassing wealth through theft and intimidation. He condemns the deep injustices that have taken root in their society, where bribery governs the land. Justice is twisted to favor the wealthy, and the poor are robbed of their property, their security, and their hope. As Micah declares, these are the kinds of profound systemic wrongs that, if left unchallenged in any nation, whether thousands of years ago or today, will surely destroy both the land and its people. He goes on to reveal that the severity of this corruption is made even worse by Israel's own prophets, who have fallen prey to greed and dishonesty. These social commentators and political pundits of the day, no longer speaking truth and love, have turned their sacred role into a business. They promise divine protection for anyone who can afford it. Yet Micah makes it unmistakably clear. God has withdrawn his protection. The divine favor that once shielded the nation has been lifted, and the consequences of their corruption are now unavoidable. However, all is not lost. Through a beautiful series of poetic promises about the future, Micah speaks of the hope that can still be found if the people choose to reform their ways. In his now famous words, Micah declares in verse 8, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Justice, mercy, and humility. Visionary social activist and co-founder of the Catholic social worker movement, Dorothy Day, dedicated her life to serving the poor, advocating for peace, and fighting for social justice through direct action. Her tireless commitment to living out the teachings of her faith in the most challenging circumstances earned her a unanimous recommendation for canonization as a saint in 2012. The highest honor in the Catholic Church, but had Dorothy been alive, she likely would have refused it. In fact, Dorothy was often quoted for saying, "Don't call me a saint. I don't want to be dismissed so easily." As she saw it, the everyday exercise of justice, mercy, and humility, in her case, recycling food from a dumpster, sleeping on a stinky prison floor, and going to Mass every afternoon, should not be reserved for the exceptional among us. In her words, we are all called to be saints in the priesthood of the laity. Likewise, I stand here today to remind all of you in this room that you are all called to be change makers in the legislature of Georgia. This responsibility is not reserved only for the boldest among you or for the most idealistic, but for each and every one of you. In a time that features many of the injustices experienced by Micah many centuries ago, it is all of you who we rely upon to set an example and to ensure that we are on the proper course. As the late President Jimmy Carter once said, the way to enhance freedom and prosperity in other lands, be it abroad or just north in our nation's capital, is to demonstrate here that our democratic system is worthy of emulation. So just as Micah asked of the ancient Israelites long ago, I conclude by asking you to do justice and to love mercy and to walk humbly with the God of your understanding. Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for the members of this assembly. I ask that you always be present with them, their families, and those they represent, guiding them to make good, wise, and ethical decisions on behalf of all who live in Georgia, and reminding each one of their calls to be change makers in the spirit of justice, mercy, and humility. I pray this in your name. Amen.
like to recognize the senator from the 38th to introduce our doctor of the day. Senator?
All right, good morning, colleagues. I am very excited to once again welcome back Dr. John Gleason to the Senate. He is racking up his points here in the Senate as he is a frequent doctor of the day here. So very excited to have him. He's an orthopedic surgeon at Resurgence Orthopedics, resident of Atlanta and graduate of McNeese State University in Louisiana, and got his medical degree from Louisiana State University. I am going to be short on this because we're going to have him back here this week, and so I'm very pleased to welcome Dr. John Gleason as our doctor of the day.
Thank y'all. Thank you for your hard work, and I know y'all got a busy week, and Friday will be a glorious day. And as Senator Kemp stated, if I make it down here one more time, I get to be his concierge doctor. Thank you.
I also wanted to, Senator Jones from the 10th, he brought a lot of it, not all of them, but a lot of his distinguished children down here. And one young lady behind me is soon to be Dr. Jones. And I just wanted to recognize her because she will be being the doctor of the day very, very soon. We weren't able to get her today, but we're going to recognize her anyways here. So here you go.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name's Imani Sutton. I am a graduate of Vanderbilt University, and currently I'm a third-year medical student at the National University of Natural Medicine in Portland, Oregon. So naturopathic medicine, it's not well known here, but it's a holistic approach to medical care that emphasizes natural therapies, prevention, and supporting the body's ability to heal itself. So currently I'm learning conventional medicine in combination with more natural modalities. So that includes herbal medicine, homeopathy, and physical medicine. Currently there are 26 jurisdictions, including DC and Puerto Rico, that have licensure for naturopathic physicians. And currently there are 17 states that are pushing for legislation for licensure. And Georgia is on neither of those lists yet. So today I'm hoping to spread some awareness of naturopathic medicine. If you have any questions, I would encourage you to reference naturopathic.org. That's naturopathic.org, or you can talk to me after this. Thank you very much.
Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? Recognize the senator from the 8th.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today is a special day in our family because my son, J.R., who's in the chamber with us, turns 21 today. And let me tell you, y'all know about 10 years ago, he was electrocuted in the swimming pool, and a friend of mine says if what he's seen in the movies is true, that JR should have superpowers. But he's certainly one of my heroes. I have a commendation here from the governor for JR. Says, John Rustin Goodman is a proud Georgia citizen who celebrates his 21st birthday on March 31st, 2025. And whereas an 8th-generation South Georgia farmer, John has received multiple state and national FFA awards for diversified agricultural proficiency. And whereas he is a lifelong UGA superfan and is currently a junior at the university studying agricultural economics, he's a member and past Vice Noble Ruler of Alumni Relations of Alpha Gamma Rho Agricultural Fraternity. And whereas he is the son of a state senator with an interest in public service himself, he has further offered his talents to the state of Georgia through an internship at the state capitol with the Georgia Agribusiness Council during the spring 2025 legislative session. And whereas John is truly a great American and a damn good dog, and it is an honor to recognize him on his 21st birthday and to wish him well in all his future endeavors now. Therefore, I, Brian P. Kemp, Governor of the state of Georgia, do hereby commend Mr. John Rustin Goodman. JR, we love you, buddy. Proud of you, and thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me the opportunity, and I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 48th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, a good friend of mine is sitting up in the gallery. A father, a leader, and a great man. I want to honor John Cohen upon his induction into the Roswell High School Hall of Fame and the Georgia Dugout Baseball Hall of Fame. For over 6 decades, 60 years, John has embodied the heart of leadership, humble, impactful, and always putting others before himself. Through his dedication, he has shaped the lives of countless young men, not only as an exceptional coach, but also as a mentor and a strong male role model. In a world where humble leadership is needed more than ever, John's example stands as a testament to the true power of servant leadership. Congratulations, John, and thank you for your remarkable leadership. We're all better for it. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 3rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I am very pleased today to have here visiting representatives from the city of Brunswick. They have a very nice bill on our consent calendar for a new homestead exemption for the homeowners in Brunswick, Georgia. But if I might, I'd like to recognize them. I believe they're up here to my left in the gallery. I have Mayor Cosby Johnson. Most of you know Cosby from his work with the State Chamber. I have Mayor Pro Tem Felicia Harris. I have 2 commissioners, Commissioner Gwen Atkinson Williams and Commissioner Kendra Roll. They have some family members with them and their representative Tyler Lewis. So welcome, folks from Brunswick. We appreciate you. Give them a hand. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 56th.
Senators, I'm very excited today to recognize someone that everybody in this room knows. A dear friend of mine for over 24 years, Lynn Riley. And it is bittersweet to commemorate your extraordinary service as you retire after all your selfless sacrifice. I remember when I first met Lynn all those years ago, she was kind enough to sit on the board of one of my companies. And then I remember when she told me she was going to run for the Fulton County Commission. And we started putting signs up, my first time putting signs in the ground. Followed by her great service there, we were both elected at the state time to the General Assembly. where she served in the State House of Representatives and was one of Governor Deal's floor leaders. She was then tapped by Governor Deal to move on to several important positions. In fact, she was the first female to serve as the Georgia State Treasurer and the Georgia State Revenue Commissioner. In her current role, though, she awarded $4.3 billion to over 459,000 students through the Hope Scholarship Program and has worked very closely with Governor Kemp and played a vital role in creating the Georgia Match Program, one of the largest run direct admissions programs and most successful in the entire country. Lynn's accomplishments are extraordinary in her 21 years of service, but I know her well, and sitting next to her, her husband Mike, her children, and boy, she is one wonderful doting grandmother who has put her values right in the proper place. So ladies and gentlemen, I ask everyone in the Senate to please rise and give a rounding applause to Lynn Riley. Thank you.
We have a special group with us here today. My good friend Jim Cole and is athletic director down at Mercer University, and his daughter Caroline is with us today, who's in law school there. She worked several years here in the Senate, both for my office and also Senator Brass, or Senator from the Rules Chairman's office, and did a good job. But we have today with us the football coach and a couple of players where I can tell you right now, these boys at Mercer, the Mercer Bears, they're not afraid to play anybody. They'll go to Tuscaloosa, they'll go to Auburn, Alabama. They even want to go to Athens, Georgia, but Athens won't schedule them. So we're going to have to get them. We're going to have to get on Coach Smart about that. But we just want to recognize them, and what a fine job that Jim Cole and his group are doing down at Mercer, and just talk about, brag on them a little bit on what they're doing and everything, the young student athletes that they're putting out down at that school in Macon, Georgia. And to talk more about it, I'll recognize the pro tem from Macon, Senator from the 18th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I rise today with some great pride to recognize a team that, as the president just spoke of, that's got grit, discipline, and heart, and have captured not only our attention but also a Southern Conference title. I'm talking about none other than the Mercer Bears football team, who delivered an outstanding 2024 season this past year, finishing with an impressive 11-3 overall record and securing a Southern Conference championship with a 7-1 conference record. Led by the first-year head coach, Mike Jacobs, who's with us up here, led the Bears and showed what determination and leadership looks like not only on but also off the field. They advanced to the NCAA Division I FCS playoffs and competed all the way to the quarterfinals, proving that Macon's not just about good music and history but also some championship football. Now let's talk about some dominance. The team went on to be undefeated at home with a 7-0 record at Five Star Stadium, and the Bears gave their fans a real season to remember. On the floor, so many of y'all recognize Jim Cole behind us that the president recognized. You'll remember, some of you that have been here a while, of Jim Cole's service over in the house for many years. Mike Jacobs, the first-year head coach that we're proud to have at Mercer. Isaac Dowling, the team captain, and then Riley Adcock. Coach Jacobs, you have built something special in your very first year at Mercer, and this Senate is very proud to recognize you. Y'all give a warm welcome for the Mercer Bears football team, and I'll ask the coach if he wants to say something.
Thank you, Appreciate it. Good morning. We appreciate everybody having us here. This is a tremendous honor to not only represent Mercer, but the city of Macon, and really fortunate for the strong leadership at our university, President Bill Underwood, and certainly our athletic director, Jim Cole, who many of you know. But really, all the thanks go to our players, and we have some tremendous ones behind us, some Bears that are getting ready to graduate and move on in the world, but they've accomplished quite a bit in their time with us. Riley was a 50-game starter for us. He's the top engineering student in the civil engineering program at Mercer University. Isaac also started over 40 games for Mercer football, and we're trying to get him one more year right now. So we really appreciate this. This is quite an honor for us to be standing before you today, and on behalf of all of Mercer and Macon, we appreciate you all. Thank you.
I see one of our former members, Senator Mitch Seaball is here today. Mitch, wave your hand, let everybody recognize. Let's give Mitch a big round of applause. Good to have you, Mitch, and see if you can do something with the senator from the 6th over there. I know you've been a mentor to him, so recognize the senator from the 23rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'm going to share with you a short history lesson and a trivia question. In honor of the senator from the 21st, I want to make you aware of how Washington, D.C. became Washington, D.C. My name is Burns. We trace our family back to Scotland, to the Burness clan, which means by a stream or a brook, a burn. It was changed the name of the spelling several times. B-U-R-N-E-S was the spelling at the time that Washington, D.C. was created. My great-great-great-great-grandfather was David Burns. He inherited what is now Washington, D.C. from his grandfather, a first-generation immigrant Scotsman. Burns served as a second lieutenant in the 1st Maryland Brigades of the Continental Army in the Revolutionary War. After the war, Burns and his family lived in a cottage in what is now the National Mall. In the late 18th century, Burns and 14 other landowners negotiated with George Washington to sell their land to the government for the creation of what is now the city of Washington, D.C. President Washington commonly referred to Burns as the obstinate Mr. Burns for his shrewd and bold negotiating style. Burns and Washington and other landowners came to terms in 1791, completing the sale. The former Burns land, it was 600 acres on the Potomac River, includes all or part of what is now the White House, the Treasury Building, the Eclipse, the Washington Monument, and most of the Washington Mall. In subsequent years, the Burns family changed their spelling to B-U-R-N-S. Some of them moved to Georgia, and I was one of those. So, Here's the history lesson. This is the oldest cottage in Washington, D.C., the Burns Cottage. And the trivia question is, when someone says, where did Washington receive the lands to create Washington, D.C., it was the Burns Farm. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Does any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution on the consent calendar? Chair hears none. The resolution on the consent calendar is adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw and commit? You have before you a consent calendar of local bills. Mr. Secretary, have any objections?
Mr. President, no objections have been filed.
Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee on state and local governmental operations, which is favorable to the passage of the bill on the local consent calendar? Chair hears none. The report of committee is agreed to. Questions on the passage of the bill on the local consent calendar? All those in favor will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passes of the bills, the yeas are 49, the nays are 0. The bills on the local consent calendar have received the requisite constitutional majority and therefore pass. Recognize the majority leader for a motion.
Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent that the following bills be engrossed at this time: House Bill 144, House Bill 153, and House Bill 511.
Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 144 by Representative Newton, the 127th, and others. Bills being titled Act to amend Chapter 7, Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated related to income taxes, so as to revise the tax credit for certain medical preceptor rotations to dentistry, to increase the value of the tax credit, to revise definitions, provide for an aggregate annual cap, to extend the sunset provision of such tax credit, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date and applicability, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. House Bill 153 by Representative Camp with 135th and others. Bill to be titled Act to amend Code Section 48-8-3.2 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated related to sales and use tax exemptions for manufacturing equipment, industrial materials, packing supplies, and energy, so as to extend the sunset date for an exemption for maintenance and replacement parts for machinery or equipment used to mix or transport concrete, to provide for related matters, for conflicting laws, and for other purposes. House Bill 511 by Representative Lumsden, the 12th, and others. Bill to be titled Act to amend Chapter 32, Title 33 of Code Section 48-7-27 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated related to property insurance and computation of taxable net income, respectively, so as to provide for deductions from taxable income for contributions by taxpayers to catastrophe savings accounts and interest earned on such accounts to establish limits for contributions to such amounts, to provide for definitions, provide for related matters, to provide for effective date and applicability, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection? There is objection. Do you wish to speak to it, Senator? No speak, okay. Majority Leader, would you like to speak to your motion? Okay. All right, the motion is to engross. We do have objection. All those in favor of engrossing will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion to engross, the yeas are 30 and the nays are 20, and this motion has prevailed. On to the rules calendar. Secretary, please read House Bill 360. I'm sorry, House Bill 114.
House Bill 114 by Representative McDonald, the 26th and others. The bills being timely act to amend Code Section 4-1-8 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated related to safe operation of motor carriers, commercial motor vehicles, and drivers and safe transportation of hazardous materials so as to update the reference date to federal regulations regarding the safe operation of motor carriers and commercial motor vehicles, to revise the definitions, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Transportation recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dolezal, Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the Senator from the 29th.
Friends, as we move into the last week of the legislative session, we tend to run into a lot of these types of legislation that are more regulatory than anything we've run into so far, and this is exactly what that is. This deals with the present regulations on moving hazardous materials around Georgia. The asking that identifies the regulations under 49 CFR to keep them in force. So we're changing the date from January 1st, 2024 to January 1st, 2025. Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I will yield the well.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objections or agrees to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 52, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary, please read House Bill 116.
House Bill 116 by Representative McDonald, the 26th, and others. Bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 5, Chapter 2, Title 35, and Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Motor Carrier Compliance Division of the Department of Public Safety and Motor Vehicles and Traffic, respectively, so as to change the name of the Motor Carrier Compliance Division of the Department of Public Safety to Commercial Vehicle Enforcement, to require law enforcement officers within such division to be trained, sworn, and certified, to provide for conforming changes, to provide for related matters, to appeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Transportation recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dolzall, Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the Senator from the 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everybody. It's been a while. House Bill 116 does two things. The primary thing is it changes the name of the Motor Carrier Compliance Enforcement section of the Department of Public Safety to Commercial Vehicle Enforcement. These are the men and women that you see in the dark SUVs moving up and down the interstate on our highways that make sure that all the 18-wheelers and commercial trucks that you see out there are compliant with Georgia law. What it also does is it ensures that the members of the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Group will be trained, sworn, and certified. For anyone who may not know, the individuals that do the inspections and the other things related to commercial vehicles have to have a very unique skill related to these vehicles specifically that some law enforcement officers do not, which is why we have concerns from time to time with agencies pulling over these vehicles. Simple traffic violations, Title 40 violations are easy enough, but some of the things related to inspections and other things related to the commercial vehicles themselves can be somewhat complicated. And with that, Mr. President, I will yield for any questions.
You do have one question, Senator. I recognize the Senator from the 53rd.
I thought I did.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the senator yield?
I do yield.
Isn't it true that if your bill passes, CVD officers, they get dispatched to the same riots and everything else that a blue shirt trooper would get dispatched to, right?
That's right. These, I think my good friend from the 53rd thinks a lot like I do, that if you have the training and if you have the skill set, the dedication, and you work like other law enforcement agencies do, you should be treated exactly the same. And these officers do respond to those same types of situations. Therefore, parity should be throughout the Department of Public Safety, and I think this helps get us closer to that goal.
Senator, with that agreement of parity, would you be in favor of signing on to the legislation from the senator from the 2nd and I to bring in medical retirement for the black shirt and the blue shirts together?
Senator, I would consider that, absolutely doing that. The only thing that makes me nervous about that is that it is you from the 53rd and the senator from the 2nd. And I'm afraid I might be walking into a fly trap, but after reading it, I would take that into consideration.
Senator, isn't it true that the senator from the 53rd is the most pro-law enforcement senator in this chamber?
No, sir, that is not true. With that, Mr. President, I yield the well.
Senator has yielded. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Hearing none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. Senator from the 53rd, do you wish to speak? Okay. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0. This bill having received a requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Secretary read House Bill 137.
House Bill 137 by Representative Anderson of the 10th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 10 and Title 13 of the official code of Georgia annotated with two contracts for public work so as to increase the dollar value of certain public work contracts exempt from provisions related to retention of contractual payments, to amend Article 10 of Chapter 2 of Title 20, those CGA related to contracts and purchases by public schools, to amend Article 11, Chapter 2 of Title 20 of those CGA related to public school property and facilities, to amend Chapter 4 of Title 32 of those CGA related to state, county, municipal road systems, to amend Chapter 91 to Title 36 of those CGA related to public works bidding, to amend Part 1 of Article 3 of Chapter 5 of Title 50 of those CGA related to general authorities, duties, and procedure for state purchasing, to provide for related matters, for bills and looking laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations General recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon, Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize Senator from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members, and colleagues. I bring you House Bill 137. This bill simply raises the threshold in which Public Works has to put out a competitive bid, taking it from $100,000 to $250,000. We haven't changed this in over 2 decades, over 20 years since that number has changed. And the bill now includes both local and state agencies. That I will yield for questions. A little order would be good too. I urge your favorable consideration for House Bill 137.
Thank you, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. Senator from the 24th, you wish to, what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I'd like to excuse the senator from the 13th doing business inside
Senator
the
from
Capitol.
without objection, Senator from the 13th is excused. All those in favor of the bill vote yea, opposed nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 45, the nays are 5. This bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Secretary, please read House Bill 150.
House Bill 150, where Representative Fleming, the 114th, and others, the bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 2, Article 2, Chapter 3, Title 20 of the official code of Georgia annotated related to the university system, so as to require quarterly reports regarding certain funding received from individuals or entities related to China, to provide for definitions, to provide for related matters, to provide for short titles, for appeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Higher Education recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Hickman, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Higher Education offers the following substitute to House Bill 150, bills being titled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 2, Chapter 3, Title 20 of the OCGA related to the university system so as to require semi-annual reports regarding certain funding received from foreign countries, entities, or individuals of concern, to provide for definitions, to provide for related matters, to provide for a short title, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, Senator Bearden of the 30th and others offer the following amendment number 1 to amend the Senate Committee substitute of House Bill 150 by striking $50,000 on line 28 and inserting $1,000. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Recognize the Senator from the 45th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise today to present HB 150 to you. This bill ensures that the legislature understands what our university system is doing in regards to countries with foreign concerns and institutions funding that might present corruption influence of our university system. At the same time, it ensures that individuals from foreign nations who want to study here can do so in peace. The two key opponents to the bill are focusing on funding from foreign countries of concern and those working on their behalf. It applies to foreign entities of concern who are governments, companies, and people without U.S. residency or citizenship who live in these countries. These foreign countries of concern are identified in lines 16 through 18. These governments are designated by the United States Secretary of Commerce. The second part, it promotes transparency in foreign funding.
You do have one question. I'm sorry, Senator. I'm glad somebody else can't either, because I couldn't either. So I think we need to turn up the mic a little bit.
Yeah, okay. And that's what the bill does. If you would, please vote, and I'll yield the well. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. No, I'll go ahead and start over. Thank you for letting me know that. So, colleagues, I rise today to bring HB 150 before you today. This bill ensures that the legislature understands what our university system is doing in regards to countries that are a foreign concern and institutional funding that might present corruption or influence on our university system. The bill does two things. It's focused on funding from foreign countries of concern and those working on their behalf. It applies to those countries, and basically where that foreign countries of concern, where that comes from, is from the United States Secretary of Commerce, and that's where that list is derived from. What this bill does is it promotes transparency. It requires the university system to report twice a year to the governor and to this body of any funding that has been received by any university, 50,000 and above, from foreign countries of concern. It does not contemplate or include tuition. It has nothing to do with that. We want individuals from all over the world to be exposed to the benefits of our U.S. higher education system and the freedoms of our society. What we don't want is to see hostile foreign adversaries use money to undermine or corrupt our university system, research, or to steal intelligence and things of that nature. With that, Mr. President, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And there is a friendly amendment that would actually drop that amount from $50,000 to $1,000.
Yeah, you do have a couple questions, and if I get everybody's attention, it's getting pretty loud back there in the back, and it is having a hard time. We are having a hard time hearing the gentleman in the well, so if y'all could bring it down a little bit. If you got house members you're talking to, maybe take them outside and talk to them there. So, senators from the 44th.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the author, will you, or the sponsor, will you yield? Great. Appreciate you starting again.
Oh, absolutely.
So this, the foreign countries of concern, I'm looking at lines 16 through 18. Would this list update automatically pursuant to any changes to 15 CFR section 791.4, or will it be static based on the list on February 4th, 2025?
Now, Senator, the way I read it, it would be the list that was established or current on February 4th, 2025.
So meaning your interpretation is that it remains static?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any concerns that then it could kind of quickly get out of date and be over-inclusive to the, maybe it wouldn't be quickly, but say in, however many years, over-inclusive to the point that we may inadvertently block talented individuals from being a part of our university system whose research we actually might very much want to take advantage of as Americans? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I completely see your point, Senator. And I could also see the list, at some point need to be updated. You might need to take somebody off or add some, or not somebody, but a country. You may take a country off, or you may add a country down the road. The intent of the bill is not students, coming from abroad to learn at our university system. It's, or countries that are of concern contributing, large amounts of money to these universities and potentially having influence over them.
Thank you. If you'll further yield, do you know why the decision was made to keep that static instead of updating along with the federal code?
I do not have the answer to that.
Lastly, I don't think this is a part of this current bill, but I know that we have had a number of bills over the last 3 years or so regarding ownership of land near certain areas, certain sensitive American, I don't know, I can't recall if they were like utilities or other things of that nature. Is this the same sort of approach that those bills have taken?
Yeah, I would say similar. I think what you're looking here is it as you the numbers debated, whether it's $1,000 or $50,000. It's the large donations that would potentially give them access, to the university through, having access to coming to meetings or being involved in a university. It wouldn't be an individual student coming over and paying tuition to access one of our university systems.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more question, Senator. Recognize the Senator from the 41st.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does the Senator yield?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So you continue to talk about this not excluding, say, foreign exchange students. But if you look at line 23, it defines a foreign individual of concern as anyone who's from one of those countries that is not a citizen or a permanent resident of the United States. So can you help me understand how that would preclude or carve out, say, an international student?
Yeah, I would imagine, it wouldn't be any student, coming from, say, I know China's a hot button country, coming from China. This would be the individual that obviously is, of concern that has done something to put them on that list.
Do you further yield?
Sure.
So you're suggesting that the person has to have done something and cannot just be domiciled from that foreign country, but they have to actually have done something to get on the list of individual concern?
No, you are correct. Yeah, it would be if they're domiciled. That's correct.
So do you further yield?
Sure.
You've also suggested that paying tuition would not be a part of this. However, on lines 26 and 27, it talks about funding means payment in exchange for services or other monetary exchange. So it's a very broad, very broad category here. So I'm not understanding how it is that tuition would not be included in this exclusion.
No, I do agree. It is a broad definition, but it doesn't have tuition, listed in there. But I agree it is broad.
So just, isn't it true that if we were to pass this bill, a student from China who is not a permanent resident in the United States and is not a citizen would be considered a foreign individual of concern and therefore could not pay any money to our university system because that would be a monetary exchange, and therefore we are essentially banning all international students from China from being able to receive an education or continue to further our research here in our university systems. Isn't it true?
No, that I don't believe that's the intent of the bill at all. No, not to ban all foreign students. No.
Do you further yield?
No, Mr. President, I'll yield the well
Okay.
on that. Thank you.
All right. Senator has yielded. Senator from the 8th, would you like to speak? Senator from the 30th, would you like to speak to your amendment?
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to my friend from District 45 for seeing this as a friendly amendment. Anytime we're talking about foreign countries, entities, or individuals that are designated foreign adversary to the United States, I really don't think we should be accepting any money from these individuals, but we are reducing that amount from $50,000 to $1,000. That way we know exactly what's coming into our universities. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I ask that you vote in favor of the amendment and the bill, and I will yield the well.
Senator has yielded. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. On adoption of amendment number 1, we have objection. On adoption of amendment number 1, from the senator from the 30th, we have objection to that amendment. Senator, would you like to speak to your objection or just let it ride? Just let it ride. All right. All those in favor of amendment number 1 will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the adoption of amendment number 1, the yeas are 32 and the nays are 21, and the amendment is adopted. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute as amended. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute as amended? Hearing none, the committee substitute as amended is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. Report of committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 32, the nays are 19. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Secretary read House Bill 199.
House Bill 199 by Representative Kelly, the 16th, and others. Bills being sent and act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated related to administration of courts and record generally, so as to modify provisions related to protection of personally identifiable information of judges and their spouses, to abolish the requirement for the Administrative Office of the Courts to maintain a database of protected persons and information, to provide for a statewide form to be used by protected persons seeking to have information removed or redacted from public records, to require state and local governments to remove personally identifiable information from public records when requested by protected persons, to provide for procedures for such requests, to raise definitions, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary offers the following substitute to House Bill 199, a bill to be entitled to amend Chapter 5 of Title 15 of the OCGA related to administration of courts and record generally, so as to modify provisions related to protection of personally identifiable information of judges and their spouses, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Recognize the senator from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, Senate Bill 199 moves to restrict the phone number and address of judges and former judges from public disclosure. It also protects their property and tax records so that people who are doing bad things that may be upset with their decisions cannot find them as easily. If there are any questions, I'll yield to them now or yield the will. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Thank you, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 54 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Recognize Senator. Secretary has a message for the Senate.
Mr. President, the following message was received from the House through Mr. Riley, the clerk thereof. Mr. President, the House has disagreed to the Senate substitute of the following bill of the House. House Bill 68 by Representative Burns, the 159th, and others. Bill to be entitled an act to make and provide appropriations for the state fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026, to make and provide such appropriations for the operation of state government, its departments, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Senator from the 19th.
Mr. President, I move the Senate insist on its substitute to House Bill 68.
The senator has moved that the Senate insists. Is there objection to the Appropriations Chair wanting to insist on the Senate's position? Hearing none, we insist. Okay, so at this moment, we're going to break for lunch. I know the pro tem has lunch set up in the ante room here. We're going to break for lunch, and we'll reconvene probably about 1:15. So just Senate will stand at ease till about 1:15.